I love the water, and there is so much latent energy in the moving waters.
Yep.
And I've followed this sector for about 15 years, and I understand wave power could be bigger than wind or solar. And you're coming here from Sweden, is that
Yes,
right?
I'm coming from Sweden
To
directly.
tell us, hmm?
Yeah,
To,
directly. So, but you know, you're quite sure, Thomas. It's quite right. You know, the oceans of the world, they are like large batteries, where the waves hold enough power to supply the world's energy needs many times over. And every 24 hours, this battery is recharged with 990 times more energy than the world consumes. And you know, the energy density in the ocean waves, it's 860 times higher than that of wind. And I think you agree when I say that what a waste this is, that the biggest green energy source on our planet, it's not yet utilized. So I think it's really about time that we change this. And as you said, Waves4Power is a Swedish company, and we are really seeking to generate a better future and make a major contribution to prevent climate change. And we will do it by harvesting the clean energy from the ocean waves and convert it to electricity without emitting any harmful CO2. So the energy in the waves is free for anyone to utilize, and it has the potential to greatly reduce or even eliminate the need for power from fossil fuel. And I give you an example here that only 1% of the wave energy on the US West Coast can supply 1/3 of the country's total electricity needs. So it's a tremendous amount of energy we're talking about. And Waves4Power today is one of the leading wave power developers in the world. We have demonstrated a full-scale wave system. The WaveL is our system in the demanding North Atlantic on the Norway's west coast for over 12,000 hours, of which 4,000 connected to the local grid delivering power. And it's really a strong proof of concept. And you know, we have today over 900 million measuring points of valuable data in our files from this test period up in Norway. So now we're going commercial on the global market. So, and as we see it, even though we are entering a new world of power generation, for every step we take, we know that the patented WaveL system can outcompete and outperform electricity produced from power plants burning fossil fuel. Together with other, and when we're mass produced, cost of electricity from WaveL will meet or beat grid parity, because we have already from start a good levelized cost of electricity. So together with other renewable energy sources like wind and solar, that will then form the future sustainable energy system of the world. And if you look at the WaveL system, each WaveL buoy can today produce approximately 500 megawatt hours of green electricity per year per buoy, and at a good price, a good levelized cost of electricity. So what we see is that, as you see and everybody else see, the global green energy transition is really underway. And as we see it, it will be a multi-trillion-dollar transition in the years to come. And it will stretch over decades. But for us, we are at the moment looking to secure a $20 million investment in Waves4Power, and that will take us to our commercialization globally. But before we go into that, I would like to tell you about the missing piece in our puzzle. It's the marine classing of our system by a global marine classing society like DNV. That is extremely important. You know, the WaveL installation in Norway, it's validated by a third party, Chalmers University of Technology in Gothenburg in Sweden. So now the only remaining piece for us is the official marine classing of a complete WaveL park. And you know, this classing is necessary to make installations insurable on the global worldwide, and it will also open up for regular infrastructure project funding. And to do this, we will launch a complete WaveL park for a classing society to evaluate and give their stamp of approval. And we have already the site for this at EMEC, the European Marine Energy Centre at the Orkney Islands in Scotland. We have a designated test berth. We have the permits for the installation. And we also have a power purchase agreement to sell power, all the power we produce to the power grid, including a contract for difference guaranteed by the Scottish government. So it's a very good deal. So now we're working to raise the necessary $20 million over the next 18 months for the fabrication of this installation, and also for securing client contracts and building out our company stronger for our future growth. So how we see it is that the green energy transition, it's a fact, and a must if we also meet the urgent need of reducing mankind's global carbon footprint. So, each wave buoy will prevent between 300 and 500 tons of harmful CO2 emissions per year compared to electricity generated from fossil fuel. And the economic lifetime of the wave system is 25 years. So, as you can see, the savings are substantial over time. And if you look at the Waves4Power's business model, it's quite focused on a broad, flexible plan to monetize all stages of the wave system's 25-year economic lifetime. And even this model also considers the worries that early investors may have towards this new green industry. Just like the wind industry experienced in the early days, early adopters of wave power, they may perceive a risk going into this new technology. And we will try to offload that risk by taking an active ownership in early installations. We will have our major earnings from turnkey sales of systems and also sales of electricity, but then also over time from service and maintenance, system updates, etc. We already have several clients in the pipeline. The only thing we are lacking is the $20 million in the platform funding that will take us all the way. So what we say is that wave power works because we know it. And we make the aim to make this green power source an important part of the future energy system. We will deliver electricity to grid clients and off-grid clients, including offshore hydrogen production plants and large-scale desalination operations. I can tell you more about this if you're interested, but that will take more than 10 minutes. So we have identified our key markets and business areas where the wave system will play an important role in the energy supply chain. And all in order to meet our mission, and you know what that is, to generate a better future for our planet. I think that I would like to say to anyone, care to join us. So, as I said, my name is Jonas Kamf. I'm CEO of Waves4Power.
So it's Waves4Power. If somebody wanted, so one of the disadvantages of no PowerPoint rule, which I approve of, but yours would have been the one thing I'd love to have shown a picture of. You have a sophisticated, could you describe your system a bit?
Well, the system, the wave buoy works like a giant pump. It's on top, there is a buoy, which is approximately 8 meters in diameter. Could be 9, it could be 7, but let's say it's 8 meters in diameter. And then there's an acceleration tube going down into the water. And the end of the tube is below the relative wave movement in the sea. So, and the tube is open in both ends. So the water inside the tube stands still. And inside the tube, there's a piston and there's a rod going up into the hydraulic system. So when the buoy moves up and down, the water inside the tube stands still. And this will make this hydraulic system, this piston move up and down, generating hydraulic pressure that goes into 2 accumulator tanks or also directly onto the generator, generating electricity that will go in a specially developed dynamic cable to a connection hub where we transform the power to whatever the end user needs. And we can connect up to 12 buoys to one hub. And all the important technology is accessible from the surface. We have nothing key down at the bottom, only unintelligent anchor points.
Okay, and what sizes are you considering?
Well, we can consider it when at the moment we have our first offers out for 100 megawatt installation on the Norwegian shelf, which is a little bit over 400 Wavell buoys. We are looking at projects in Alaska. We are looking at which is on a larger scale. We are looking at projects down in the Pacific region that will go up to a couple of thousand buoys. So anything from a small system for an island community to a large system for an industry or whatever. So it all matters what the end user needs, how much electricity they need. And we are also looking in, of course, into offshore hydrogen production using the seawater and the power of the ocean to produce hydrogen, green hydrogen. And you know, when you burn hydrogen in fuel cells or to generate electricity, the rest product, it's water. So it's a perfect system.
Okay, so I'm taking it from that example that the individual generator is a nameplate of 250 kilowatts. Is that?
Yeah, it can be up to 300 kilowatt the generator. Yep.
And how much does that weigh, or what are the dimensions of that device?
If you look at the total weight of a Wavell buoy, it's around 50 tons. So 48 to 50 tons for each buoy.
All right, a little bigger than I thought from the pictures. Okay.
And if you look at the hull structure and the tube structure, it's made of a specially developed polyethylene that is specially developed for marine applications. It's stronger than the traditional polyethylene 100 used in sea pipelines, etc. But it's also very strong in terms of it will not let off any kind of microplastics in the ocean, guaranteed by the manufacturer. So that is one thing that one of our partners in our partner structure have developed, Borealis in Austria.
All right. And have you gotten to know the other companies in this industry? Because there's about 15.
We know many of them. We have a very thorough competitive analysis done on almost all the other companies in the business. But I got a very good input from one of our partners in the technical management of Siemens in Sweden, one of our long-term contracted partners. And he said that, well, Jonas, you should know that you are way ahead of competition. There's no one else in the business that can show the test results that we have of a full-scale system from a Norwegian test.
You know, one of the things that got me into clean tech investing was when Ocean Power Technologies went public in London. Must have been 12 years ago, and it's $100 million. They also have a buoy system, but it's different. And I think they're on the 4th generation. And yours is being, you're envisioning fields of these, whereas they're sort of going after one-off powering a research station or something.
It's not the same thing, but we are using the same source of energy, but we are looking at larger project. Of course, we are in a stage, you know, where we are in a build-up stage, and the park at the Orkney Island will really open the door to commercialization of the company. So far, we could say that we are leaving the startup stage and going into commercialization phase as we speak here. But we have so good results and a very strong belief from many clients around the world that we see that we will definitely do it. And if you look at the system in itself, it's based on all the 3 very simple facts. First of all, survivability in the ocean, which is number 1. That is key. Anything you do in the ocean will sooner or later break. And we say that let's do it the way that it will break later. So when we developed the Wavell system, we looked at one of the things that has been in operation, or 2 things that's been in operation for many years in the open sea. You can find still operable installations from the early 1920s. It is navigation buoys and it is weather buoys around the world. But there are thousands of them out in the ocean. And they are operating because they are smart, intelligent, but very simple made. And we looked at that, and let's say if we look at the principle of that, we make something that can survive. The next thing is serviceability. We have to be able to access the units in a simple way. No subsea operations. It's too expensive. My background is from the marine operations side before I started in WavePower. And I know that all diving operations with remotely operated vehicles, ROVs, etc., it's extremely costly. So what cost $10 up on the surface will cost 100 down at the bottom. So, and the last thing is, of course, profit. It has to be a profitable operation for everyone involved, including the environment.
It does appear that you've thought through the key issues, which is operation and maintenance and survivability.
Yep.
Because I remember getting a pitch on a company that had an underwater device, and they had pictures of little submarines that would go and service these things. And I'm going, yeah, that's interesting. So we have a question that's come in about comparing your generators to offshore wind turbines. So for instance, Siemens has involved in the wind business, and what are the challenges and pros, cons of maintenance and installation? Do you see your issues?
I'll say that if you look at the large wave power installation, if you look at, for instance, 100 megawatt installed power, that will be 400 buoys. But 100 megawatt installed wind power, that will be not too many, maybe 10 windmills. But for instance, if 1 or 2 or even 5 or 10 buoys go down, so we have to service it, that will not affect the power production nearly in any way. So that is one of the benefits. We are relatively small in the ocean, easy to handle, easy to deploy, easy to remove if needed. And the best thing is it's easy to service from the surface, because we are building our system with high modularity. So instead of going out there, standing on top, trying to give service, we go in with a vessel over, lift out the broken part, replace it with another one, plug and play, leave as fast as possible, and do the service on land.
Right. Well, in your search for the 20 million, I guess there are wealthy families that have backed a few of the companies in this sector. There are, of course, strategics, investment funds. But have you considered being a public company? Because it appears that there's a lot of capital for that.
We have discussed this, and would say that the perfect timing for us to go public is probably 3 years after, if we decide to do it. It's probably 3 years after our commercialization. That is the park at the Orkney Islands, because that will give us the global classification, but that will also increase the value of the company. That will be a good step for the early investors, because that will be quite dramatic increase in valuation of the company.
So I know for the tidal power companies that their geographic parts of the ocean tend to be near the poles, not near the equator, because of the tides are great in the Bay of Fundy and some other places, but not in the Caribbean Sea. What does it look like for waves? Are there regions that you want to go to, and other places that you would just say we would never put our devices?
It depends on, because we are following the economy of scale when we develop the product, and which will lower the production cost, but also lower the levelized cost of electricity. And of course, the further we get on the economy of scale curve, the more areas in the world will be open to our system. But mainly, of course, from day one, we are highly competitive with anyone burning fossil fuel to generate electricity. And there's so many clients around the world burning diesel to generate electricity. And by replacing that, we will not only improve their economic situation, but we will definitely improve the situation of the environment. But to answer your question, we are looking at sites around the world with an energy content, an ideal energy content for our system is somewhere between 20 to 70 kilowatt per meter wave front. That is what we're looking at. And also a wave period, that is the time between the waves of somewhere between 3 and 9 seconds. That is ideal for the system.